Hey everyone, how's it going today? And welcome back to another update. So the story right now is that there are many different states, as some of you guys know, that are currently coming out with their own stimulus check program. So there are two states that I really want to talk about that currently have some kind of program going on. But I also maybe just want to give a brand new update to talk about what's been going on when it comes to just fourth stimulus programs in general. Most people already know this, but only for anyone that happens to be new here, and also because it's still being asked all over the different, sources all over the internet, to maybe put it out there, is that the story right now when it comes to fourth stimulus checks is that sadly, all of the things related to federal fourth stimulus checks, so the traditional stimulus checks that we got for the first, the second, and the third stimulus check, sadly right now at this time, it's not a very big priority. So the hope that's going forward really from here is that even though we may not necessarily be able to see a fourth stimulus check specifically, now we don't know because, things change very fast inside of Congress, but it's just the current story right now is that it's not a very major top priority. However, what is a top priority is trying to do a lot of other kinds of stimulus programs. So as most of you guys know, like child tax credit, we talked in yesterday's update about the EITC. That's essentially a stimulus program for single individuals. I'll put that at the very end screen. I think it's literally just called $1,500. There's two parts, and it literally just talks about the program and then how to actually physically get onto the program, because that is an approved program. And then of course a lot of just other very niche related programs, like related to industry, states, locations, the certain demographics, that I think at the very end of the day, especially because there are still so many people in need, the goal is to hopefully try to find as many programs as possible that will accomplish putting money inside of our pockets. And I think that's the most important thing. Of course, we're going to talk all about that, but as always, real fast before we begin, consider smashing the like button, as always, because it is greatly appreciated. Of course, you guys can decide. Consider subscribing and hitting the bell for similar videos. Huge thanks if you guys have been here for a while. And as always, feel free to comment any questions, personal thoughts about honestly just anything. Always great to say hi to new and familiar faces. So with that being said, let's get this video started. So we're going to start by talking about the fourth stimulus package, so the one that has all of the different individual programs. So the story right now, what's going on there is that they're still currently talking about it, but Manchin did recently come out to speak a little bit more right here. And the story is that it's still very much on the table, not necessarily the traditional, so the original version of the fourth stimulus package, but essentially they're going to be trying to plan to write a brand new version of this package. But one thing that they have actually specifically stated is that at this specific time, their biggest priority is really on trying to focus on things related to election laws. So this is basically everything related to like how people vote, everything related to that. And then also about keeping the government funded because of the government funding situation that is expected to end on February 18th, 2022. So if you are watching this on release date, we have a little bit over a week, but the idea is that they need to do this in order to keep the government funding. Otherwise, they can't really be able to continue. And then everything, not just about future stimulus, but even programs that we currently have right now, whether this is just the traditional versions of like unemployment, social security, everything like that is going to potentially be on the line. So what they really want to do is that they want to focus on that. They're going to try to get the government funding through. It looks like it's going to be a very simple procedure. So it's not going to be something that has, I mean, of course, they still have to work on it, but certainly simpler than doing all of the other programs that they're trying to do. Once they officially try to get that done, then they're going to move on once again to now focus back on the fourth stimulus package. And this is the part that becomes really interesting. Now, one brand new information that did recently come out in terms of what's in it is that the really great news is that at this current time, the child tax credit and a lot of the other programs actually, including things related to social security, it's still very much on the table. They don't know if how they're going to physically plan. There are many people that speculate and believe it's going to be an individual kind of so essentially like a standalone bill to try to do it, but at least it's very, very much on the table, and the fight is still they're still trying to press for it, and I think that's the most important thing. But maybe one lesser good news is that Joe Biden did recently come out to express that sadly they had to remove free community college. So the significance of this is that if you are either someone that's relatively young and planning or would have planned to take advantage of this to go back to college or to start college if you're trying to go in general, or if you happen to maybe have a kid that is going off to college soon, or maybe you are just thinking about having kids, so maybe this is something that many, many years, even though I know it's more than 15, I mean, it is important, maybe more than 15 years down the line, if it still exists, then this is something to maybe consider if you guys do have, either already have kids or plan to potentially have kids. Or actually, interestingly, even for adults that maybe are kind of contemplating if they maybe want to go back to school to take advantage of this kind of as like free education in order to maybe try to learn more, whether this is for just self-fulfilling reasons or curiosity, or maybe they want to change their careers. So that's really the significance of this. The hard news is that right now at this time, according to Joe Biden, they've officially taken that out of the program or out of the stimulus package. And it's also believed because of that, things related to student loans, so student loan forbearance, everything like that, is probably not going to be included in that bill as well. So I know this is, relevant to some people, but I figured it's important to just still share it at the end of the day, and its significance of why it's actually relatively important. Okay, so now maybe to now move on to now talking about very, very specific programs. I do promise is we can't get to every single state here, but we hopefully will get to more states in the future. So maybe consider subscribing or definitely be on the lookout for that if we do hopefully get to it. But the first state that we're really going to talk about is going to be in the state of New Jersey. So New Jersey right now is interestingly doing a special program called the Excluded New Jerseyans Fund. So specifically, there's an acronym ENJF. This sounds like, those like personality acronyms, like ENFP. But so the idea is that they're doing a program. It's called the ENJF, and it's really to help anybody that potentially or possibly right now at this current time, maybe to this day, have not even received their third stimulus check or unemployment benefits. What the significance of this program is that if you are someone that maybe ran through some kind of delay, some kind of situation, tax related stuff, or just something related to your account, they just recently approved this program, hoping to try to do potentially $2,000 stimulus checks to sort of make it up to anyone that applies. The other interesting demographic and group of people that would really apply for this would really be people such as like undocumented workers, people without a social security. There were a lot of people that maybe lacked information, and so their goal is to try to send relief to them as well, and that's really the significance of this. If that either applies to you, or maybe you just happen to know someone that, this applies to, that you can maybe consider sending and spreading the word, whether it's through this video or just the word over, so that as many people know as possible. Now, the deadline for this program, if you do happen to be from New Jersey and interested in applying, I believe is going to be February 28th. So there's still the better part of about 3 weeks. So they're hoping to do it either by February 28th or until the money runs out. So hopefully we can get onto that. The next state that we're really going to be talking about technically is a city, but it's really going to be in Philly. So Philly right now is trying to promote a universal basic income program to essentially do $500 as a monthly stimulus check. I believe that the name of this program, if you want to look it up, it's specifically called the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, or they're using the acronym TANF, and it's currently a pilot program. The only one thing maybe important to notice is that it's a very, very niche program. So they're only going to be taking a pool of, I believe there's about 1,100 people that are applying for it. And they're going to be selecting a very limited number of people to really be able to pilot and test this program. So the good news is at least the program exists. I used to, interestingly, also live in Philly for a couple of years, so I do know many people that live in Philly. But it's also important to notice is that this program, admittedly, it can be a little bit difficult to get on because it's really for a very, it's not that it's for a very specific demographic, but it's that it's a little bit of a lottery system. That's really the reason why. So there's a lot of people that qualify for it, but they need to pick and choose very select people. What they pick it on, that's something that really goes on behind the scenes with what they end up deciding, but at least it exists, and it's something to look into if that happens to maybe be something that applies to you to consider. But beyond this is that that's pretty much most of what I really wanted to share in today's update. And again, if you happen to be in another state, I know there's so many other states, including New York, which is where I'm from, and of course California, because it's one of the largest states, of course, all of the different states, they have their significance to the country, their history, everything about it in some ways, the culture, everything related to that. But the big idea is that hopefully, as we maybe learn more information, other states will find out more. I will maybe recommend is that if you're looking for more information, maybe consider just Googling up your state and then just stimulus. So if, let's say, for example, you're in New York stimulus, or universal basic income. So New York UBI, or universal basic income, and we'll definitely be willing or try to share it in future updates as we get more information. So that being said, if you guys made it this far, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, stay safe, stay well,